What is going on YouTube? Taylor Dunn coming at you from oacheddar.com, and in today's video I want to talk to you about gated categories on Amazon, and specifically how do you approach getting yourself ungated for those categories. Real quick before I dive into the video, if you like this video, just the normal stuff, give it a thumbs up. If you want to know more about us or get more free content, subscribe to the channel. And then if you want to know more about who oacheddar.com is, links to our free Facebook group are in the description. Check us out. It's pretty awesome, pretty sweet. All right. So gated categories on Amazon. What is that? So Amazon will restrict sellers from selling in certain categories and restrict in certain brands or even certain products. And the reason for this is because Amazon wants to protect its brand. They want to make sure that you as a seller are going to be able to fulfill on your end of the bargain. You're going to be able to sell authentic items that are in great or perfect condition. They also want to make sure that everything that you promise is being delivered to their customer. If anything, Amazon's #1 goal isn't about us as sellers. Their big thing is they want to protect their customers. They want to make sure that their customers are happy. And so gated categories are a way to ensure that people who are selling on Amazon are good sellers. For example, Nike. A new seller is not going to be able to just walk in on Amazon and be able to start selling Nike products. It's going to take a little bit of time to, I guess, prove yourself to Amazon that you are a seller that sells authentic goods and that you do a good job being a seller. So if you want to know more about what categories are automatically restricted to a new seller or anything like that, just Google restricted Amazon or gated Amazon categories, and it'll take you to Seller Central. It's going to look something like this, and it'll talk more about what products are gated or what categories are gated right off the bat. What I want to talk to you about is when you come across a gated product, how do you proceed? And so I have an example actually right up here. If you go to the add a product page and you put your ASIN in like so, and I'm looking at this Gillette razor pack, you may get a response that looks something like this. First you have your product with all the information like normal, and then down here where it will normally say list yours or sell yours, sometimes you'll get this button that says request approval. Other times you might get it where it just says that you are not approved to list this product and that they are not currently accepting any more applications at this time. That is a bummer when it happens, but there are ways that you can, or steps that you can take to help reduce the amount of times that Amazon's going to restrict you on a product or in a certain category. And there also are tips and ways that you can get yourself ungated in a whole category. But if you see this right here, you're kind of stuck. You're not going to be able to apply to get ungated in that category. There's really nothing you can do. The other option is right here where it says request approval. You can select that button. Now I already went ahead and did this, and I actually got approved. So if you hit request approval and you get this screen right here where it says that you are now approved to sell this certain brand, great, you're done. I did this with Gillette because in the past we've actually been restricted on selling Gillette products. To my surprise, actually, I hit request approval and now I am approved to sell the Gillette brand, which is fantastic. So if you find a product that you're restricted on but yet you can request approval, do it. You may be surprised to find that you're automatically going to be ungated for maybe certain categories. If you hit the request approval button and you get a screen where it's asking for an invoice from your supplier or distributor, and it wants a whole bunch of information, what that means is Amazon wants you to provide them with invoices and information proving that you're buying this from a reputable supplier. Now, store receipts normally, if not always, do not work. So I can't bring my receipt from Walmart and say, well, look, I bought all these Gillette things from Walmart. they're not going to accept that. What they want to see is they want to see an invoice from a well-known supplier, somebody that they can do, Amazon can go and do research on, that is a legitimate distributor of that product or the actual company themselves, which can be extremely difficult to do when you are doing the retail arbitrage and online arbitrage model, like so many of us do. So what do you do as a new seller? Well, there are a couple things you can do. You can, and the big one that a lot of folks do is they hire an ungating service. So you can Google Amazon ungating service, and you will pop up with tons of different options that you can explore yourself. There's not a certain one that I'm going to recommend over another. It's been quite a while since we have been selling on Amazon for a while that we've had to get ungated in categories. So I'm not going to recommend one, but you can just Google it and take a look. There's also review sites that go over all that information. Or another way is that you join a Facebook group, such as the OA Cheddar Facebook group that we have here, and you can be part of a community, and you just ask other Amazon sellers, and then you just gather their information, their referrals, and their recommendations, and then you can make that decision yourself. Who should I go for? Normally, when you have an ungated service, and I'm just going to open up these guys right here. Shout out to thefunnelguru.com. No idea whether or not you're a good service or not, but I'm going to use you as an example. If you are going to use an Amazon ungated service, normally you can find that they have like a menu. So they actually have, all their different categories and subcategories that they can get you ungated in, and they'll have the prices for each one of those services linked right next to it, so you have a pretty good idea of how much this should cost. It's going to cost you anywhere from a few hundred to maybe $1,000 to get ungated in most categories. So that is another way that you can get ungated, is by going through and actually hiring a service to go and get ungated for you. And a lot of folks have success with that. I will say though that what we've come to find from our team in our coaching program, where we deal with a lot of new time sellers and folks who started out selling on Amazon, by the time they're done with their coaching program, we're often doing very well. A lot of the folks, what they did is, or what we've determined, I guess, are the three main things that affect gated categories is: how long have you been selling on Amazon? How much have you sold on Amazon? And how well did you sell on Amazon? So how much, obviously, you want to be able to show that your store sells a high volume amount of products and that you're always constantly sending in more inventory and selling it. So that's a big one. How well do you sell on Amazon? That's going to be your seller rating. Seller rating is extremely important. You want to keep yourself up to as close as you can to a perfect seller rating as possible. So maybe going in and getting some negative feedback removed, or just just takes time. Maybe just having a good rating will affect whether or not you can automatically get approved in certain categories. And then we talked about how much and how well, and then how long. Sometimes it's just a time game. Maybe sometimes Amazon just wants to see, when you're first starting out, that you've been selling for maybe a year or 2 years before they automatically get you approved in a certain category. Sometimes it really just goes along. What we found is sometimes it just comes with the season. Sometimes there's certain times where it's easy to sell or get ungated in certain brands and categories, and sometimes not. For example, I'm shooting this video, it's the 26th of September right now. We're leading into the Q4 and the Christmas time, and I know that toys are going to be a category that is going to be difficult for brand new sellers to jump in and start selling for Christmas. So Amazon's going to restrict a lot of folks in the toy and game category for this Christmas season. After Christmas season, it's open wide up. So there's really no surefire way to say, hey, 1, 2, 3, this is how you're going to get ungated. There's multiple ways that you can approach it as a retail arbitrager or online arbitrager. Having to usually pay to get ungated from another company is usually the easiest way to get done. If you are dabbling into the wholesale market and you actually do have a supplier, a reputable supplier or a distributor that you can actually get an invoice, that is going to be your easiest way to get through it. As it's a private labeler, there's a whole bunch of stuff when you're making your own products and how that affects. If you want more information, actually, me and my brother Grant did a great interview call with Nick Cotter. He's a member of the OA Cheddar family. And in that call, he talks about how in 8 months he started on Amazon and got himself up to doing roughly about $20,000 to $22,000 a month in sales, and how he did that. We talk a lot about gated and how he was able to get around the gated categories and get ungated in a lot of the categories and brands that a lot of new sellers have trouble getting approved to sell in. So if you want, I strongly advise that you check out that video from Nick Cotter. It's actually our Cheddar TV 2 video. So take a look at our channel. You'll find that video pretty easy to find. Other than that, I hope that you found this video helpful. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want more free information. Leave a comment if you have any questions, or if you just want to say hi. And then join our free Facebook group if you want to know more about who OACheddar.com is and what we're all about. Other than that, I hope you all have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.